Mother, tell your children not to walk my way.
Well, hello.
Tell your children not to hear my words. What they mean, what they say.
Mutant from Alchemy Wedding last night did a video together. Yes, we don't live very far apart, so it wasn't that hard to do. It was more of just something to do for fun. We'll probably do it again at some point. That's why it was a little crazy, but it worked out. You guys seem to like it. So, anyways, I'm actually here with a question and answer after I said I was going to do this a couple of days ago. As always, for any of you that would like to send me a question, just send it away. I'll ask limited to one question per person, and that's pretty much it. And if I like your question, I'll post it up here and I will answer it right here. Let's get started. Do you think if TNA acquires Brock Lesnar, what do you think they will do with him, and will they draw? Also, with BMK and 3D most likely leaving in the fall, do you think Goldberg and Jericho are a possibility? My problem with Brock Lesnar coming in is the fact that that whoever has him signed for an MMA deal is gonna want him pushed a certain way in a pro wrestling ring. So that's why I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to bring in Brock Lesnar unless he's gonna be, a full-time wrestler for them. Then I do think it's a good thing because Brock Lesnar is talented. He definitely can do a lot of things for TNA, but he's gonna ask for a lot of money. He's not gonna want to work full-time, so I don't think that is necessarily what they need. As far as Goldberg, they don't need to waste any money on Goldberg, in my opinion, because I don't think he'll do them any good whatsoever. Jericho, on the other hand, I've said numerous times, I definitely think they should bring in Jericho. I think Jericho is the one guy out there that could do the most for TNA. Let's see, what is your take on the Abuse Society Project 161 and ROH? Do you think this will actually be a big hit, or will it fail in your opinion? I think this is going to be a big hit if it goes where I think it's going, even if it goes where it kind of looks like it might be going. There's two possibilities. I think both will work. I think both will be very good. And for those of you that have not seen this, definitely hit WWEProject161.com. Check that out. It's weird. It's funky. It's ROH doing some weird, crazy internet stuff. But it's pretty great. Hey, Truthslayer, based on in-ring ability, who was better, Lou Thesz or Misawa? I will just say this. I don't think anyone was ever better in the ring than Lou Thesz. I think you put Lou Thesz in the ring today, and he could still get over just because he was that good. I love Misawa for various reasons, but if you're just going to talk about in-ring ability, I think there's nobody better than Lou Thesz. Hey, Truthslayer, I think that people for the most part don't like John Cena that much because he just kind of came out of nowhere and was all of a sudden being shoved down our throats. Do you think that he needs some sort of defining moment such as Hogan slamming Andre or Austin at WrestleMania 13? Do you finally earn people's respect, or is it too cliche and people just don't like him? Actually, he didn't come out of nowhere. He was pretty much over. He was the most over guy when he was given the championship on SmackDown. He was selling the most merchandise, so he didn't just come out of nowhere. The problem is that there wasn't a lot of and there's still, in my opinion, not a lot of young guys who can kind of carry the load in WWE, and that's part of the problem. Is that you've got the only guys that he can really feud with and be a big thing are the Undertaker, Triple H, and HBK, and that doesn't work because those guys are legends, and here he is, and he doesn't stack up against them as well. So that's what needs to happen. But I think by WrestleMania, if they keep going the way it looks like they're going, that might be fixed. I hope. Hey, Truthslayer, what do you think about the next TNA pay-per-view, aka the Kurt Angle pay-per-view, where he will be defending the X-Tag and TNA titles? I hate this. I don't think they should do this. I think they should have definitely gotten the titles off of him before they got on to the pay-per-view, because unless they can pull wonder booking out of their butts, this isn't going to work. Basically, there's no way you can tell me that he's going to be able to walk in there first with an X Division guy. You can say, yeah, he can beat him, but then you're going to be put in, even though Pac-Man Jones isn't a legit wrestler, it's still a 2-on-1 situation, and if you're going to have him beat them and then beat Abyss after that, in which he's going to be tired, the Abyss thing kind of makes sense because you kind of figure there's probably going to be a run-in, but still, I just don't see this working. This will be like a bad Impact to me, and I just don't think it's going to come off well on on pay-per-view. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll come on here and say I was wrong. They pulled it out of their butts, but we'll have to wait and see. Truthslayer, you have said in the past that you don't like the X Division title in TNA because you believe it holds people down. But in this video, you said you liked the ROH Pure title. Why? It was used the same way. It was just a different style of wrestling. No, it was used as a secondary belt, and purely as a secondary belt. And even though the rules were different, you had guys like Joe, and you had Joe who had it, which pretty much gave it, a lot of credibility. So I would definitely say it was just a secondary belt and wasn't really used to hold guys down per se. Unlike the X Division title, which I do feel that they put guys in the X Division to keep the X Division good and haven't allowed them to elevate to the main event. I loved the Pure title and I really liked it, so I wish they would bring it back. Hey, sir, have you ever heard about wrestling have you ever had wrestling burnout, and if so, what did you do to get over it? Yes, I did, and when I did get over it, I watched ECW, the original ECW. And I still watch and look forward to every ROH DVD that comes out, but it's like every match just goes on by and just happens. Often, I would kind of agree with that, though I do think they're getting better with that. I think over the last, I would say, 2 years, they have done a lot better job with storylines, and the matches mean a little bit more. You still have a lot of undercard matches that just are there, which I don't mind, but a lot of the matches are actually meaning something now. A great example would be tonight. You have nearly every match on the show, on the Manhattan Star show, except for the World Championship, which just is, they're going after the World Championship, so that's the story behind it. Pretty much has a pretty good story behind it, so there you go. Or do you think Joe could really do much if he did go back to ROH? I mean, I hate how he's used right now, but don't get me wrong. What do you think he'd do? He won the title, his name, power for them for sure. What does it benefit him? Basically, he can be used the way he wants to be used, and also they would probably continue the Noah angle, which they started and kind of had to throw out the window due to him leaving, which would have been a pretty big deal, to say the least. Hey, Truthslayer, I'm a huge ROH fan, and I was just wondering, who do you think is going to defeat Morishima? Where, when, and do you think this will happen? I'm not sure when it will happen. I think it's going to be something out of the blue, similar to how Austin Aries beat Samoa Joe, and that'll make it a pretty big deal, I think. Hey, Truthslayer, I was wondering, with the rise of MMA and it going mainstream, if you think this will affect WWE, ROH, and TNA, UFC, and Bodog Fight or promotions, their products like Mad Men right now. Supposedly, that is said to be one of the biggest problems with WWE buy rates is the UFC buy rates, because UFC is pretty much right there with WWE and actually kicking WWE's butts when it comes to buy rates, and they're going after the same people, which kind of surprises me that we have a UFC pay-per-view this weekend, and we have a one of the big 4 WWE pay-per-views this weekend. So yeah, I think it has affected them, not so much as the way that MMA has affected the Japanese promotions, but I definitely think it is affecting them. Why is WrestleMania in March? Is it just because there's no other big sporting events or is there more to it than that? Nope, that's pretty much it. You don't have pretty much, you're still right in the middle of the NBA season, and you've got the Final Four in NCAA, but that's it. So that's like the best time to put it on. So, and usually when they put on WrestleMania, the Final Four has already happened in NCAA basketball. So, yeah. If CM Punk got shafted out of the ECW World Title at SummerSlam, do you think you would start a Free Punk campaign like you have done with a Free Joe campaign with Samoa Joe? No, and here's why. Because Punk, Punk isn't a guy that, as much as I love Punk, is a guy that I think deserves, to be the face of the WWE. Yet it's he's only been in there a year now. I think if you asked me this a year from now, yeah, probably so. But and I definitely say if he's not getting a major push by the Royal Rumble, I would definitely be pissed off. But at this moment, no, not really. What booking team would you use to replace TNA's considering their current roster? Raven, Jim Cornette, Tenay, and the Canadian guy, I can't think of his name. I'd bring him back too. And that's all the time I got. Everyone have a good one, and